Hello everyone and welcome to Blaugrana Everything and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another win for Barca and a good one I should say this time around. One which I think is a bit of a microcosm of what Villarreal season has been, to be quite honest, because let's be real here, okay? They were quite underwhelming. They did not offer much against Barcelona in this game. We can take a look here right quick at the stats. They only had about 6 shots in total, and I mean, sure, it says 3 big chances, but I'm even finding it hard to understand which those big chances were, because aside from their goal, I can only think of the Jose Perez chance that they had towards the end of the first half, where couldn't quite get on the end of a cross from Nicolas Pepe. But on Barcelona's side, we saw Lamine Yamal scoring the first ever hat-trick of his career. So quite understandably, yeah, he was your man of the match. And also we saw assists for Ferran for Fermin Lopez and for Jules Koundé. Ferran Torres, on the other hand, continues to be a bit worrying. It's good to see Robert Lewandowski, though, get back on the score sheet, despite the fact that VAR tried to rule that one out. Sorry, not VAR, but the linesman and the referee tried to cancel that goal for offside, which ridiculous, If we didn't have VAR doing its job today correctly, all right? I know I've come down hard on VAR, after the Girona match, because they didn't do their job correctly. They did this time, and it was honestly a bit ridiculous that that goal had been even called offside, because it's hard to see at what point the linesman saw an offside. Anywho, Balde returned to the starting 11. So did Pau Cubarsí, and I don't know if that means that they're not going to start against Atleti. We'll have to wait and see with all of that, Eric Garcia, of course, stayed in the starting 11, but no Gerard Martin this time. He was suspended, I believe, and no Joao Cancelo this time, which that surprised me as well, especially after Barcelona scored their third. You would have thought that, he could have come on for either one of Balde or Koundé. But this time around, Flick chose not to bring him on, chose to keep him on the bench. And, of course, Joan Garcia did have to make a save at some point, but it wasn't like this time around. His performance wasn't as breathtakingly good as it was away at Villarreal, where he really got put through the ringer to some extent in that match. He really had to pull out all the stops. And Marc Benau as well, again starting here for Barcelona, and once again he looked pretty good in this one. I mean, of course, he did get the booking and he did get subbed early because of it. And it was kind of one of those yellow cards which you had to take for the team, especially since, Barca had just conceded the goal from Villarreal to make it 2-1, and Villarreal was starting to get a bit of momentum. So, it was one of those fouls where, you have to take one for the team. One thing, though, that I did not like from this match, and that I hope Hansi Flick does not repeat, was Dani Olmo playing as one of the pivots. And well, I say one of the pivots, but I should really just say one of the midfield too, in Flick's system, where we play really without much of a pivot position. But yeah, Dani Olmo, I do not want to see him playing in that role ever again. Just play him at 10, okay? We all know that's what he was brought here for. That's what he's good at. Just keep him there, I'd much rather we start with Marc Casado deep than we play Dani Olmo, because the floor with Dani Olmo in that position is much lower than it is with Casado in that position, because at least Casado is going to give you some, combativeness in the midfield. Is going to give you some moments where he takes the ball off the opposition. And also just generally, he's much more suited at recycling possession than Dani Olmo is, because we all know that Dani Olmo wants to take, 2-3 touches, turn, and then, start going at the opposition. But this time around, he just couldn't find himself in this match, and it's really no surprise that he was that, he had that bad of a rating coming into this one. But then we also have to talk about this man who, he came off the bench, and honestly, he kind of just stole the show. I mean, sure, Lamine Yamal scored the hat-trick, but the fact that it was his assist that got the hat-trick goal for Yamin, but also because of his pre-assist, for Lewandowski's goal. That pass he made to Jules Koundé. It was very much a similar pass to the one that he had for Yamal, one of those slide rule passes, but the one that breaks, multiple lines of the opposition's defense and leaves, your teammate in acres of space in behind. And honestly speaking, Pedri he was a different class today, Easily, if he had played the whole match, he probably would have been the man of the match, because I don't know how many more of those passes he would have put out. But, it was good to see from him. It was also pretty good, nice cameo we saw from Rashford and from Rooney. I mean, of course, Rooney wasn't able to create as much as, say, maybe Yamal did, but from the, 17, 20 minutes that he played, we at least got to see a few, glimpses, as we usually do with him, because, that's what you like about the kid, is that he always gives you those glimpses, and you could see that, he's got something here. We're working with something here. And like I said, the rest of the substitutions, really, I think really all of the subs today kind of, they did a respectable job, Marcus Rashford, Ronald Araujo, name them all. But, I just wanted to single out Pedri for a bit, because, man, I know that we were winning games even without him, but when you're winning games with him, you understand why you just have to have him. You know what I mean? You just need him on the pitch. So hopefully he can just stay fit for the rest of the season, which, since Frankie de Jong is injured, at least now we don't have to worry about, anybody else between Pedri and Gavi getting injured, because, we've never had Pedri, Gavi, and Frankie de Jong all fit at the same time for quite a while now. Somehow, somewhere along the line, somebody gets injured. The last time we had all three of them fit, we won the league by quite a landslide. Yeah? Anywho, that's basically that for me. You let me know your thoughts. I should probably share my thoughts as well on the Champions League draw for Barcelona. I know I've seen a lot of opposition fans, if I could put it that way. There's been a lot of them just coming out and saying, oh, this is such an easy draw for FC Barcelona. Look at the side of the bracket that they're on. Every team there is like cannon fodder or something. But it's like, that's very interesting to hear, because Chelsea fans shouldn't be saying that kind of stuff, because on that side of the draw, we do have Arsenal who, cooked Chelsea. PSG fans shouldn't be saying that, because we've got Sporting, we've got Atleti, both of whom cooked PSG, and we have Newcastle United who PSG couldn't beat. And of course, Real Madrid, even less so, because, they can't even win a game against Arsenal in the Champions League, but they're talking like that. And on that side of the bracket as well, you've got Barca and you've got Atleti, two other teams who this season already have cooked Real Madrid. Man City, even worse. Man City were cooked by Leverkusen, they were cooked by Bodo Glimt. Like, literally, the two sides you could look at on the bracket and think, those are the two weakest teams. They cooked Man City. So I don't want to see Man City fans talking about that side of the bracket is easy. Last I checked, Barcelona has cooked quite a few of the teams that are on that harder side of the bracket, So, listen, this is Champions League football. It's not league football, It's not La Liga. It's not Premier League. It's not Liga. It's not any of these, Serie A or one of these trash leagues. It's the Champions League. Everybody who shows up in the Champions League shows up on business. And you could see what Bodo did to Inter. Generational butt whooping. Okay? So I don't want to hear anybody, honestly speaking, and all of you Barca fans as well who are out there, cucking for the other fans, the opposition fans, agreeing with them, well, yeah, this is an easy bracket. If Barcelona are serious, they should make it to the final. It's like, think for a second, all right? Just right there on that side, literally in the quarterfinal, Barcelona, if they get through, could be facing the last team that just cooked us 4-0 in Atletico de Madrid, all right? So there's nothing easy here. Get that idea out of your head. This is the Champions League. Everybody's on serious business. Okay? All right. Now, aside from that, I thank you all for tuning in. Do have a great day, and Forza Barca.